Absolutely, and you see
years.
the repercussions.
Absolutely.
There. In some situations, the girls getting pregnant in the process and the like.
True. Now let's take the conversation to Twitter now. % of those who responded to this poll are male and 14% is female. 9% will rather not say. Now let's have a conversation on the back of this. With me in the studio now is Cassandra Mofa, I believe. Ampofu. Well, and she is with the Ghana Education Service. Cassandra, I'm grateful for your time here, but let's go straight to the point. Why does it appear this is so widespread?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Good evening to your viewers. Well, I might say that we are worried as GES that this is becoming rampant, but then we also have a clear code. It's really stated clearly in our code of professional conduct that any teacher who indulges in immoral relationship with the students, even in the school or in any other educational institution, shall face sanctions. And so it is spelled out clearly, and we do punish them. You stated earlier.
We'll come to the punishment, whether or not it's had an impact, or the kind of impact you were looking for. But let's talk about the cases that have come to you at the GES. Do you have an idea how many cases you have had to deal with as far as, you know, sexual harassment cases in our schools are concerned?
Yes, the ones that come up to our attention, we investigate. I remember in Ashanti region, I was part of the committee. Okay. And we had a number of cases we dealt with, and then we gave them the necessary sanctions. And so to get the accurate figure, then we have to put all the regional cases together and then get the figure for you.
Would you describe the reports you get as a large number of reports, or perhaps there are a few that come to your desk, perhaps?
Well, what comes to our desk, just a few. Okay. Just a few, but you never can tell. Probably some other things are happening and they do not come to our attention. Sometimes the students are afraid. They don't come to us. Other times too, you get them, they are not even ready to let you know the truth. And we wonder. Other times too, there's kind of a compromise, because I remember we invited a student and a teacher who were having back in Ashanti region, and the student was bold enough to tell us that they were really in a relationship. And so when that happens, you're at a fix. What do? He's not even ready.
Does it appear, you know, there is some sort of, for lack of a better choice, ignorance with regards to why you as a student should not engage in sexual relations with your teacher?
Sure, and then it goes beyond GES. This is a collaborative effort from all stakeholders. The child is coming from the home, and so the parent should also ensure that the person or the ward is educated on sex education, counseled, and then comes back to school and will also go through the same process for the child. And so all the stakeholders must be involved: parents, teachers, the students themselves, and all others.
Okay, but once the child leaves my home into your custody through the schools, then I would want to believe that even if my child would want to have consensual sex with you, which at no point is right, you, the teacher, will be mature enough to say, no, we can't do this. But it doesn't happen, does it?
And then again, morality also comes in here. You understand? The teacher should be able to know that this is your student, and no matter how the person looks, you should be able to resist the temptation. And so we keep on telling them, and we have, in fact, we have structures in our schools too that we keep engaging the students and then the teachers as well to desist from such acts. And so morality plays a key role here, that the teacher should know that this person is your student. This person is not an adult for you to engage in such a...
Well, it sounds to me when you say morality, then you tell us, well, it's a moral choice. We really can't do much beyond what we have put in our regulations. Is that what you're telling me now?
Oh, no, not really. Not really. We have, I mean, it goes beyond morality, well, but then we have our structures, and the individual too has his own, I mean, a kind of, you should understand that you don't have to do certain things. There are some teachers who, regardless of the rules, they will not do. They will not yield to that temptation. But others do. That is why I brought in the morality.
Very well. Now, we'll look at those structures you spoke about just seconds ago. But I want us to talk to a victim of sexual harassment in our school. We'll call her Pokuya for the purpose of this conversation. Pokuya, thank you very much for your time. What is your story as far as sexual harassment in schools are concerned?
Oh, okay. It actually happened to me in first year.
First year in the university?
Yes, please. We were doing this course. It was a 2-semester course. Course 1 is at the first semester and course 2 during the second semester. So unfortunately, the first semester, my friend failed that course. So she had a trial in advance. And unfortunately for me too, the second semester, I failed the second part of the course, that same course. And the result came out really late. It was, I think, a week to recess. So I decided I wanted to write to clear the trail. I didn't want to carry it forward. So my friend had 2 trails and I had 1. So she wanted to register both. And unfortunately, she was having some problems trying to register the 2 because the result came out not really long before the recess was going to. So I told her we should see the exams officer of her college. But she even suggested we should see the one at her department. So we agreed to see the one at her department. So I went with her and we explained to him that my friend has 2 fields and I have 1. The same course though. And he was like, oh, okay. He'll try and register the other one for my friend. So we thought it was good news. And I had his number. When we went to first year, during our first lecture with him, he gave his contact out and his CS contact too, in case someone needed any help or foundation to anything, you can just pass by his office or give him a call and he will clear things out for you. So I tested him before we went to see him. That was how we booked an appointment with him. So I think after going to see him some days after, we went there again. He was like, he's been able to clear 1 trail for my friend. That means my friend was going to write just 1 paper instead of 2.
Very well.
Yes, and so mine was still outstanding. So I had 1 paper to write, my friend had 1.
So Pokuya, how did he come on to you?
It was after we wrote a paper and the result came out. We went to check our result. He was like, oh, your result came out really good. So how come you showed the first? I was like, I think I didn't really learn. So that was it. Unfortunately, I didn't saw his number 2. So I was there sometime and a number just texted me. It was one Friday evening. And I was like, please, who is this? And he's like, it's me, Mr. So and so. I was like, oh, okay. So I was wondering, like, what does this man want? And he was like, how are you? I said, oh, I'm okay. And he was like, he's also fine. He's like, how is this? I'm like, everything is going on fine. And he was like, what are you up to? I said, I'm in my room, I'm sleeping, trying to catch some sleep. He's like, don't you want to hang out? I'm like, oh no, I'm not an out inside. He's like, oh, but it's the first time to everything. I was like, I know, right, but I don't think I want the first time.
So how did you manage the situation?
It's a system for almost a year.
I see.
Yes, it really made me uncomfortable in class.
Did you pass your paper in the end? Did you pass the course?
I did.
I see.
Yes, I did. Because he was making progress even in class. Whenever he comes to class and he gives us a quiz, he'll go out and he'll be texting me, how is the paper going? It was the time my friends were actually blaming me. That it's my own fault that the man is trying to pursue.
Look at that.
It's not my fault. We all needed help and we had to go and see him.
Very well.
No, none of us wanted it. Yes.
Pokia, we'll leave our conversation here for now. For the sake of time, we cannot go on. But thank you very much for your time. Let's now take this to David Echampong. He's Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. David.
Hi.
Why are the teachers who are supposed to be taking care of our young children taking advantage of them instead?
Well, that is not what is supposed to happen.
But it is.
That is happening. And like I've always said, we are not saying our teachers are sacrosanct. It's a huge challenge. That is why in our professional code of conduct, there are specific regulations to check this behavior.
I do agree. But David, you would agree that NAT has not done this subject any good, especially when you are very boisterous on other issues, but have not for a minute ever spoken publicly about issues of the sort which are taking place in our schools, particularly in our basic and secondary schools.
It's not correct. We have districts spread across the whole country, and we hold teachers meetings almost every term, mass meetings, and we draw attention to some of these challenges that confront us as an association. We have drawn our members' attention to the fact that some of these things border on criminality. Others, there's a violation of our code of conduct, and that for us, as an organization, we have never stood by anybody who has been found culpable of breaking the regulations and the laws of this country.
But knowing that your engagements with your members have yielded very little, what else did you do? You just sat back and hoped that you continue engaging?
Well, you have to engage. Then we have to ask this question to the totality of the Ghanaian people. Because these people are people who go to churches, they are preached to. They are people who go to the mosque, they are spoken to. They might be traditionalists, they are spoken to. We as media men, what are we also doing? We are playing our part.
But David, it sounds to me that once it came to the issue of sexual harassment, you want the church and the mosque to take care of it. But as an association, in as much as can you let me land? In as much as you are able to hold news conferences, you are able to hold government ransom for your salaries and sometimes for your compensations that do not bother really on your wages. You haven't been able to do this for the young boys and young girls who are being taken advantage of by your recalcitrant members.
No, you're not being fair. I don't think the choice of
but
your words
have you been fair to the young girls?
No.
You are asking for fairness here. Meanwhile, you haven't given any to these young girls and boys.
You're a very bad teacher because you ask questions for 5 minutes and you want 2 minutes answer. So you have to give me an opportunity to answer your question. I have told you that we constantly engage our teachers on this particular matter.
Okay.
This thing has come up. The issue is that we have also be investigating some of the issues that have come up.
Very well.
Taking evidence and asking the employer to take action. But where these reports have not gone into the employer, no action can be taken. A lot of the things that I read, some students say teachers are harassing them. Why didn't you report them?
Very well.
Because we are not God, we can't be everywhere at the same time. We expect those who are being harassed to report the conduct of such teachers. But if we throw it out there on social media, oh, there's harassment here, left, right, center. How can you interrogate that? How can you hold people for their actions?
David, I'm grateful for your time, but thankfully, a representative of your employer is here, so I'd ask her. He says that they've been reporting some of these issues to you so much that you should be dealing with it, which you have also touched on, that some of these cases come to your desk. But what are those structures you say you have in place in order to deal with issues of this nature?
In our schools, we do have class meetings, house meetings. We have the guidance and counseling units. We have the girls' education unit even at the district level. And so we expect that we engage them constantly, I mean the girls, and sometimes even the boys during meetings, class meetings, and we expect that whatever problem they have, they report to us. Surprisingly, they don't come. You hear on social media, just like the NAT member said, and when that happens, it becomes difficult. But whatever it is, like the cases we have heard on social media, we have started investigating. But these structures, the students, the first student who talked, I wanted to find out whether indeed she reported to any of the house mistresses.
Unfortunately, we don't have her at the moment.
So if you have that problem, or if a teacher is harassing you, you should be bold to tell your house mistress.
What usually are the sanctions you give teachers who are found culpable of flouting this regulation of yours?
Well, you can be dismissed from the service.
Only that?
No. Yes, that is the highest. You can be dismissed from the service, and then you will forfeit all your retirement benefits. And then you can also have a reduction of your rank, so that, for example...
So you'll be demoted?
Exactly. So if you are on a higher rank, like Assistant Director 1, you can be brought to
but
a principal soup.
Don't you agree with me that these sanctions are not deterrent enough for the teachers, and that is why this practice persists?
They are. It's because probably you are not aware. They are.
No, but if they were, then we would see a reduction in the number of cases that we hear of. But tell you what, we are not seeing that. Increasingly, the teachers are having sexual relationships with their students. For me, on the outside, there is no sanction to deter them. So no criminal charges follow? Nothing?
Well,
nothing
there's a criminal aspect to it, but we are not to deal with that. We have to deal with the administrative structure, and that is take you through the process. The school investigates, it gets to the district, it gets to the regional disciplinary committee, and then the region reports to the headquarters. If the headquarters is not even satisfied, we sit on it here in Accra. You understand? So we go through that process. For the criminal aspect, it is the police to deal with.
So, Cassandra, we'll leave our conversation here for now. Thank you very much. Cassandra Ampofo speaks for the Ghana Education Service. Now, away from this, onto another very disturbing story. The Lembele District Police Commander, Superintendent Thomas Bayer, has assured parents of a 14-year-old Class 6 pupil who was sexually abused by 4 men at Bobrama in the Lembele districts of their readiness to bring perpetrators of the heinous crime to book. He gave the assurance when he accompanied the District Chief Executive, Kwesi Bonzo, the Coordinating Director and the District Social Welfare Officer to the home of the victim.
Superintendent Bayo dispelled allegations that his men were not ready to follow up on the matter when it was first reported, hence the seeming disappearance of the suspects.
I have to ask the police. We are on top of the door. You see, piano. You are young. Mutim can be away and go free. To more lie on the police. Because you have never done for my. You say at the end of the day, justice will be there.
The victim, a pupil of Asenda Basic School in the Elembele district of the Western region, who narrated her ordeal to the Axim-based Ankobra FM, said the men aged between 17 and 35 gave her a drink suspected to have been mixed with an unknown substance when she attended a program at Bombrama, a town in the Elembele district, on Monday, January 15.
You're watching News Tonight. There's more ahead. Stay with us.
Autistic children's dreams come true during Verna Mineral Water rebranding launch.
Most of the times people ignore such kids and they tag them as evil kids or they are cursed and all that, but that's not true.
Putting a smile on every child's face, regardless of their condition, is a major responsibility of our society, and I am pleased to be a part of this today.
In this life, the best thing you can do is to make someone else happy, or basically make people around you happy.
Drinking and buying Verna mineral water, you help many people out there, like our beautiful sisters over here, and all the many people that Verna mineral water helps. There we go. Purchase a bottle of the all-new, sleek and stylish Verna natural mineral water today and support a worthy cause. Verna mineral water, changing people's lives.
Precious one, I'm Bishop Charles Ajinasari. 2018 will be my 35 years in a miracle ministry. And in every nation I've been to, the power of God has been present to save, heal, and deliver. I want to specially invite you to our Miracle Festival at the Independence Square from the 30th of January 2018 to the 2nd of February, 5 p.m. each night. Beloved, bring the unsaved, bring the hurting, bring those who have problems, and the power of God will be present to save, heal, and deliver. Jesus is the same yesterday, He's the same today, He's the same forever. And so I'm specially inviting you to this Miracle Festival. Join me, your life will never be the same. Invite your friends, invite those who are sick, bring them, and God will touch them. Minuad of Obra, Unyankopon and Sabe count. Anyami, Inkeba, Numboken in a batahe, Novio, Viva, Mauna Kasimi. It's the word of God, the miracle. It's the word of God in your life.
The Ghana Trade Fair Company, under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the One District One Factory Secretariat, welcomes you to the 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair under the theme Industrializing Ghana and Creating Jobs. It will be 1 week of exhibition and enterprise from February 28 to March 7, 2018, offering manufacturers, suppliers, consumers, and various service providers the opportunity to network and make sales. The Presidency urges you to support, partner, and explore the opportunities available.
For inquiries, call 0241-818-658, 0244-173-127, 055-247-4632, or visit tradefairgh.com.
The 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair, industrializing Ghana and creating jobs.
Jame, therefore, ma yawo hoyi brings you. Na fe mu so mo kwan.
Say the therefore say no. Wada roma, manento nana say nsuo asem de mo ha na okra ye ba no ye de nsuo ba.
Adai se waba efie a wasa yanyama mu nsuo nom no wo so di nsuo ba ene sai
nana eti amra
odefo yesre wo nsuo we eye ahemfu nsuo a ye de afa mfidie mu asone so aye ne kroje a Free Kingdom Beverages Limited, King's Drinking Water.
Bye ma nsuo na de
Adampa
King's Drinking Water mpa ene na King's Drinking Water
ahimfusuo dede.
Well, let's continue on the conversation we've been having about, people who take sexual advantage of our young ones. Abigail Edem Hunu is coordinator for the Girls Empowerment Project. She also is with WILDAF. Abigail, you're coming into the conversation late. I apologize for that. But quickly, what do you think about what is appearing to be the trend in our schools?
It's very unfortunate that a teacher that is mandated to take care of these young ones ends up taking advantage of them because student-teacher relationship puts an indent on the child's right to education that is enshrined in our 1992 Constitution. It also violates GES policy. It also violates the Children's Act. People have various reasons for doing this. If you go to the hinterlands, they tell me it's bush allowance. I don't know whether children are grass cutters that those teachers go to the, Yes, it is really sad that we have a classic case of a predator and a victim. For that matter, is uncalled for. All meaning Ghanaians should condemn it. And
I think what do you think about the sanctions from the Ghana Education Service?
The sanction, sometimes I'm tempted to believe that they don't even exist because most of the time I work in some of the schools, and what normally happens is if a teacher is alleged to have abused a girl or is having a relationship with the girl, what normally happens is they transfer the teacher from school A to school B. So inevitably they think they can get away with it. So yes, they keep on doing that.
What must we do to deter others from engaging in this practice or even reducing the numbers?
The law must be seen as working. If a teacher goes out with a student, which contravenes, like I said, the Children's Act, because it's not in the best interest of the child. Yes, it's not in the best interest of the child. And then, like I said, it interferes with the child's right to education because you have a relationship with a teacher, it goes so. You know what happens. It says for grades kind of slips in somehow. So, like I said, the law should be seen as working. And I think Ghana Education Service should find a way of inculcating gender, healthy relationships and consent in some of their syllabus, in the syllabus, so that at the educational level, we know that is sorted out, and then we need to have conversations with the parents as well, because sometimes you won't believe it, but it's really happening that some of the parents, because of poverty, pushes these young ones
to engage in those acts.
Yes.
I see. Adam, unfortunately, we'll have to leave our conversation here, but thank you very much for coming around. Kweku, I know you're on standby, and once upon a time, you were a teacher yourself. Is there an edge that teachers are unable to fight, Kweku?
You should be able to fight it. I don't think this is something that there would be an excuse that, well, there's an edge with the student and you couldn't resist whatsoever. Absolutely not. I think it's an unfortunate situation if a teacher should fall for a student's, so to say, love and get involved. I mean, the teacher should be punished, Kemeni. Absolutely one thing that should be condemned.
Very well. What else is in the news, Kweku?
All right, so Kemeni, we've been talking about issues surrounding the jailbreak. I'll give you an update on that particular development right away, as an Accra Circuit Court has convicted 2 suspects connected to the killing of a police officer during a jailbreak at the Kwabena District Police Station in the wee hours of January 21. Well, 10 others pleaded not guilty to the charges leveled against them. All 12 accused persons have been remanded into police custody. The accused persons have been charged with a total of 5 counts: possession of firearms without authority, abetment to possess firearms without lawful authority, conspiracy to commit crime, escape from lawful custody, and abetment to escape from lawful custody. 2 of the accused persons, Prince Osei and Atakwejo, pleaded guilty to the count 3 and 4 and were convicted on their own pleas. However, sentencing was deferred to the next court sitting. So, Kemeni, those are some updates from the court and exactly what is happening with the jailbreak issue.
Now, we'll get more on this story in a bit with a court correspondent. But right now, let's talk about the Ghana Water Company Limited. The company has closed down Public Waste Enterprise, a public toilet sited at the 37th station at Abeka, La Paz. Officials fear the location of the facility could contaminate treated water being distributed to homes. But residents in the community are against this decision.
This facility is one of many in the Abeka La Paz area. It serves hundreds of residents whose homes are not fitted with toilets. Residents, however, will have to look for alternative places of convenience now that it has been shut down. It is reported that some unidentified persons claiming to be officials of the Ghana Water Company and the police arrived at the facility on Monday about 11 a.m. to lock it up. The officials explained the 6-month-old facility is sitting on pipelines of the Ghana Water Company Limited, an accusation the owner of the facility, Yao Costal, vehemently refutes.
Okay, yesterday in the morning around 11:30, I saw some policemen plus some Ghana Water personnel. They came that they want to lock the place, and I allowed them to, to lock it up, And after they took about 3 polytanks from here to their yard, they said I built on the pipeline, but the pipeline is nowhere near the facility. You can see it yourself that the main pipeline is here, and there's another one, the bypass, the small one, is somewhere there. So it's nowhere near the facility.
Some residents who had lined up to use the facility seemed to agree with him.
11 o'clock now, I'm mobile number 2 sign and money in the coy. You be some say you see pipeline so. By checking against when see pipeline also. Distance war any pipeline in term. And a pipeline the ground one a quad deep pa into when this is crano. Man and Casampo went to form and block cran share form. Just a concrete form no and no see a unisi so.
I'm not happy. I stay at Ablikuma and I work with the Lands Commission Secretariat, which is at Elwak. So when we reach here and we want to go to private, it's just simple, just a stone through, then you enter inside and go. And when I came today, some time ago ahead, they came around. They were worrying, the landlord. And I asked them whether he has seen the AME. And I have seen them. And they agree, everything. And the man started the foundation. Supposing they did not agree, I don't think you put on the foundation. They think up to a working level. Yesterday alone before we here, they said they have come to a bit close out the thing.
However, the Ghana Water Company insists the siting of the facility is problematic to its operations. It is unclear what action GWCL will take henceforth.
All right, so let's bring you back to the studio and back to our earlier story on the Kwabenya jailbreak. My colleague Wilberforce Asari has joined me right here in the studio, so we'll revisit the subject again and really find out what transpired in courts. Now, Wilberforce, many thanks for joining us. So we're talking about the suspects, the escapees and the jailbreakers, or those who aided in the jailbreak. Indeed, where does the suspects fall when you break them into two?
Well, Kweku, there are 12 people who were arraigned today in court. Out of the 12, 3 of them are members of those who escaped from lawful custody at the Kwabenya District Police Station. The remaining 9 are said to be those who aided these 3 persons to escape. And so Prince Osei, Atakojo, and Kofi Dako are the 3 who were already in custody but got out of prison because of the onslaught by these other persons who have also been arrested. The other 9 include a lady, Nancy Denta, George Yeboah, Prince Kofi, Edward Latte, Kofi Seshe, and Kofi Seshe is the one who is suspected to have actually shot the police officer. So that is Kofi Seshe. He was also in court today. It also includes George Saba, Elvis Owusu, George Asante, and Theophilus Banda.
Wilberforce, you mentioned how this suspect is alleged to be the one who shot the police officer. Did the police come up with any story on how these alleged suspects shot the police officer?
Well, so in the police brief facts that they presented, it did not really capture the full details as to how the police officer got shot, except to say that they do indicate how they managed to arrest these accused persons who have been arraigned today before the court. They indicate that the 5th accused person, who is George Yeboah, is the one who was first arrested. When he was arrested, upon interrogation, they discovered that he had given some various sums of money, 200 Ghana cedis and 40 Ghana cedis to the first and second accused persons, Prince Owusu and Atta Kojo, for them to be able to escape out of the Ghanaian jurisdiction. Now, as a result of that interrogation, police intelligence led them to Rara in the Volta region, where they arrested the first and second accused person, who are all part of those who actually escaped from lawful custody as a result of these onslaught by these armed robbers at the Kwabinya station.
Wilberforce, in 30 seconds, because time is not on my side, maybe you can explain to me, because I've not heard any charge on murder yet. I mean, can you explain that?
Absolutely. Now, I told you that Kofi Seshe is the one who is believed to have shot the gun to kill the police officer. Currently, these proceedings are before a circuit court, but Kofi Seshe, I can tell you, will be arranged before a district court where he will be formally charged with murder. The indictment processes will go on before he is sent to a high court to stand trial for murder of the police officer Emmanuel.
Wilberforce Asare, thank you very much. Wilberforce was in court for us today. We'll quickly move on to other stories. And here, government has directed Registry of Birth and Deaths to review its operational guidelines banning titles as names. Now, this was reviewed by the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Haji Halima Mahama, when she appeared before Parliament following the summons. Haji Halima Mahama reviewed the standard operating procedure developed by the registry in 2009. States clearly titles must not be registered as names.
But I think that MP for Wa West, Joseph Yilechere, who was sector minister in 2009, denied knowledge of the guideline the registrar says is enforcing. Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Anthony Akutose, demanded an apology from the minority for accusing the acting registrar of engaging in an arbitrariness in arriving at a decision given revelations of the sector minister.
I want to urge members of this House, even though the matter looked like it was wrong, we should have done our homework to check the proper SOP to make sure that he was right before trying to condemn him. He was on the right path, and those who were attempting to condemn him were on the wrong path. And I think the proper thing is for those people to sincerely apologize to him.
Other MPs took turn to contribute to the statement, registering their disagreements with the decision.
But honorable is also an English word, which has meaning. If a parent decides he wants his child to grow up to be honorable, an honorable person in society, now we have Peace. People name their daughters Peace or their sons Peace. And we have, so I can decide that because I want the name to have a meaning, and so I want to call my child honorable. At that point, it is a title that has become a given name.
Nilante is a name. It is not a title. The Ni there is a name. It's part of the name. We need to separate when it is a name and when it is a title. But in our tradition, in the Gan state, if you name somebody a name, if I have a child today, a boy, and I name him Ni Lante Wonderful, it is his name. You cannot refuse to register that name.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, however, stated the registrar will get no apology, insisting the minority was in the right in hauling the minister before the House.
Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, you got it wrong. We don't owe the registrar an apology, and nobody should apologize to the registrar. After all, even listening to the minister, he has come to accept, Mr. Speaker, you contributed to the debate. Minister have accepted the position we collectively took. Ni Nana, who says Aja? Is somebody born an Alaji? Until you go to Mecca, so how can you be given birth and you go and say, I'm Alaji Idrisu? Which Alaji?
Majority Leader Oseichi Mensah-Bonsu urged the registrar to work closely with the National Identification Authority to ensure accurate data collection regarding births and deaths.
Updating the regulations and indeed streamlining it to reflect the sentiments and then submit same to Parliament, so that it will be in tandem with the current law, and that the instructions from the office do not then have the effect of contradicting or being conflicting the sensibilities of Ghanaians.
Now I know of 2 people who are called Hallelujah. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Speaking to GHOne News after proceedings, Hajia Alima Mahama disclosed there will be a comprehensive review of the 1965 Act and 1975 legislative instrument governing registration of births and deaths, taking into consideration concerns of the public. She, however, disagreed with demand for an apology for the registrar.
When it started like Mr., no one will even go and say, give my child Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Okay, those kind of acquired titles, you may talk about that. But when it comes to names like Nana, Ni, you should register them. Besides, at the end of the day, it's the parent who decides the name. If the parent insists on that this is the name I want, that is what should be provided. But my emphasis, I just want to emphasize that it's not as if the man just, the registrar just decided to do what he likes.
Well, at least my daughter Nanajua will now get a birth certificate. Well, that will do for our stories. We'll immediately move on to business shortly. It's brought to you by Dusk Capital.
Business Brief is brought to you by Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you. We're looking for you, the next millionaire. We know of your stressful routine. From those 12-hour flights across the Atlantic to your hustle through traffic every day. From burning the midnight oil to that laptop that never sleeps. We know where you are in life, and we know where you want to go. Let us take you there. Thinking investment? Think Dusk Capital. Dusk Capital. We see a millionaire in you.
Henry, what is wrong with you and your laptop? It is not working.
Hey. What at all is going on in this house?
Your son's laptop is not working and my phone.
Me kai me mo frabrim. Na me mama de me ko Freddy's corner. Enti ene eye manager. Se me di Freddy's corner ho dance e. A kire mabusia. Na ade ba ko a me kai wo Freddy's corner. Eye se de wo siti wanim. Ejeji wo customers. Eba mobile phone, eba laptop papa, camera papa ni PlayStation a Freddy's corner aha ene wo. Sakoba to mobile phone say, o camera say, o laptop say and a PlayStation. Me ha ho bra. Freddy's corner be try you go am. Freddy's corner, your home of authentic mobile phones and accessories.
Welcome back to News Tonight. Time now for some business news. The Institute of Energy Security wants government to intervene and get the Tema oil refinery back to work. The IES believes this will largely be resolved when leadership of the facility is strengthened.
Tema Oil Refinery has been plagued by several setbacks in its operations, with the recent being the shutdown of its distillation unit. The unit, which commenced operations on January 2 last year, had to undergo a forced shutdown 16 days later due to non-compliance with procedures and practices. Maintenance, which should have taken some 3 months to complete, is now about 9 months beyond its deadline. According to the principal research analyst at the IES, Richmond Roxon, the Energy Ministry and government must pay particular attention to the country's refinery.
The whole of 2017, the refinery did not refine a single crude in 2017. Well, since the furnace broke down on 26 January till December, nothing, absolutely nothing was done. We are being told that there was turnaround maintenance. Yes, turnaround maintenance takes 3 months. Before a turnaround maintenance, you should have a pre-turnaround report and post-turnaround report. It's supposed to take 3 months. It took 9 months. And their excuse is that because the refinery had not had a turnaround maintenance for a long time, that's why it kept long. That is inaccurate. It is simply because there was no planning. The planning was poor. So works that were supposed to take 3 months extended to almost a year.
All right, so that'll do for business. When we come back, we'll bring you international news. All right, so Kenya's main opposition leader, Raila Odinga, has declared himself the people's president at a controversial swearing-in ceremony in the capital. Thousands of his supporters attended the event despite a government warning that it amounted to treason. The authorities shut down TV stations to prevent live coverage of the event.
Kenyatta's victory was marred by irregularities. Holding a Bible in his right hand at a park in Nairobi, Mr. Odinga declared that he was answering to a higher calling to assume the office of the People's President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Odinga told a cheering crowd that people had had enough of election rigging and the event was a step towards establishing a proper democracy in the East African state. Speaking earlier to Kenyan broadcaster KTN, Mr. Odinga said his swearing-in was intended to show the world that what they are doing is legal, constitutional, and not something that can be remotely described as a coup. According to BBC's correspondent in Nairobi, it was a public relations stunt that ended in disappointment for many opposition supporters as Mr. Odinga turned up for just 20 minutes. He is reported to have signed a statement, swore an oath, and left the stage, leaving his supporters wondering why it was such a low-key affair. His deputy, Kalonzo Musyoka, was not at the event, and Mr. Odinga said Mr. Musyoka would be sworn in at a later date.
Now it's time for E-Zone, and tonight we want to put the spotlight on veteran actor Sam Adjetefio, who has been in the news recently. The actor, in an interview over the weekend, stated that to get a roof over his head is becoming problematic these days. In an interview with Dolores Frimpong Manson on the Delay Show, he explains life for him can now be best described as tough.
Where are you living now?
Yeah, well, it's Legon. And no problem, Madame Phoebe. I'm Tom Fiona, na baby Kakrana. I say, I'm in bed, pet you or Kakransa. But we'll be living there maybe in the next 2 weeks or so.
When your baby?
Yanya baby by a cash scan.
Sing
10,000, huh?
Ghana.
10,000 Ghana.
Where in
Dodua area.
Okay, how many rooms?
Chamber and hall. Me no.
Okay.
And to almost say, me kakra na me panyo in chose. Juma no ba me yare nso me de koye juma.
All right, let's engage Sam Fisher, who's currently on the...
It's with the Actors Guild.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Sam, we're grateful that you are on the line. I don't know if you heard Sam Adjetefio, living under difficult circumstances there. Now, what is the Guild doing about Sam Adjetefio's current situation?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. As I speak to you now, we as a Guild have plans to have a meeting. I'm talking with reference to the leadership. The issue we got rid of it yesterday, and we decided that there will be the need for us to meet and look at the way forward. Earlier on, I think that somewhere last year, he had a bit of a challenge. He was admitted in hospital. We were there. We did support him, duly. And with this current situation, we certainly will get together and see what we can do.
So, now, Sam, you rightly said he had this situation some time back. You were there when he was in hospital. But my question is, why would you always wait for such a situation before you come in? Wouldn't you rather prefer, being there for the person in totality, so you ensure that he doesn't move into the situation, come on air to announce his situation, and then you come in with a firefighting approach, so to say?
Yes, ideally, what you have said should be the case. But we, as an association, have very serious challenges, and especially when it comes to the issues of funding. We are so very much constrained. We have been working behind the scenes to try and put some welfare policies in place. It is not, for us to someone or one of us find him or herself in a certain situation before we run to the person. We would have wished that the situation where every single one of our colleagues, whether registered with us or not, would find him or herself in some form of a better situation with respect to welfare. But that is not the situation on the ground. We as a guild, I'm sure that those of you who have followed the guild for some time now, will testify that we have had quite a number of challenges.
All right. Really, time is not on my side, but I really want you to address this very shortly. There are more actors who are growing, who are aging. For these actors, what is the immediate plan for them, if you can answer within the next 10 seconds for me?
Please come again.
So we have other actors who are equally aging, who fall within this bracket, and they have their difficulties. What is the plans for them as well?
Yeah, like I did say, we try to put in place some fair policies, mechanisms to ensure that at least we will have the situation which is pertaining now, pertaining tomorrow. I am a typical example. Certainly, tomorrow I will have another day added to my life. And so certainly I'll get where of these senior colleagues have gotten to. And so we are all in this together. We know that when we do it, it affects us, and if we are able to put in place the right structures, I'm sure that this will be addressed.
Sam Fishin, many thanks for joining us with updates on what the Guild is doing for aging actors and those who have difficulties. Well, Kemini.
Did he say tomorrow is his birthday? Well, if it is, happy birthday to you. But that'll be all for tonight. State of Affairs is on later at 8:30. My name is Kemini Amano.
My name is Kweku Temi. We're grateful that you stayed with us throughout the evening. Tomorrow we'll be back with some more stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs.